Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
In some developing countries, girls rarely get the opportunity to complete their education. This week, Learning World focuses on efforts to bridge the gender gap. We have stories from Senegal and Bangladesh, and we'll also talk to Carole Bellamy, a former UNICEF director, to get a better understanding of this problem and the possible solutions to it. We go first to Senegal for a story about getting a second chance. Here, girls often leave school at an early age, usually because of poverty or forced marriage. Diénéba was 13 when she left. 6 years later, she's now back in class thanks to Tostan, an NGO that campaigns for equal education rights. Here's her story.
Diénéba, a 19-year-old mother, is ecstatic to be reunited with her family. Her life took a turn for the worse in 2005 when an arranged marriage forced her to leave school. In her village, everything but marriage can wait.
I cried every morning, afternoon and night. I didn't eat. Sometimes I ran away to the forest, where I'd stay for days on end. I wanted to convince my parents to let me carry on with my studies and end the marriage, but I couldn't persuade them.
Demba Aw is the school supervisor. He remembers vividly the disappointment he felt on hearing Diénéba's news.
We persuaded her not to abandon her studies. Unfortunately, family ties are a lot stronger. This year, we've already had 7 other cases of girls leaving to get married.
Her mother justifies her decision as a cultural necessity.
When a girl aged 13 to 14 doesn't get married, she discredits her family. This was frowned upon by our neighbours, and that's why we decided she had to stop her studies, settle down and get married.
But everything changed when Diénéba divorced and returned to her beloved studies.
I was really happy. It was difficult to get back to my studies because even the head teacher refused to let me rejoin. He thought it would be too difficult to resume my studies after a gap of 5 or 6 years.
She received help from Tostan, an NGO based in Senegal dedicated to giving education to Africans. Uele wasn't so lucky. Forced to get married at 13, she tried to persuade her husband to let her go back to school.
My parents decided that I should get married to my cousin against my wishes. I had to obey them, but if I was given the same opportunity as Diénéba to go back to school, I'd be absolutely delighted. I go to sleep at 11 p.m. and get up at 4 a.m. to study. I've got my own blackboard at home, so I can do exercises with my classmates.
She participates in the course because often there's a free table. She puts her hand up, asks lots of questions and has taken to it all really well again.
Diénéba now dreams of going to university to realise her ambition of becoming a mathematician.
Gender equality remains one of the great challenges of the modern age. Despite decades of effort, imbalances still exist. Carole Bellamy, a former UNICEF director, believes the divisions deepen in secondary education. She spoke to us in Geneva.
Education for all by 2015, that's a very lofty goal, but some countries are meeting real challenges in achieving that. Is it possible to break the deadlock there?
It doesn't require great new scientific breakthroughs. We know lots of things that work. We know that if water, in a village, if water is closer to the village, the girls are the ones who usually have to go and fetch the water, so they come to school. If there are separate toilet facilities, latrines in a school, it makes a huge difference, particularly for adolescent girls. We know that having more women teachers, or at least a sense of some safety in the school, makes a difference for girls going to school. It's interesting, when countries have done away with school fees, very often you see this big explosion of children coming to school, including girls.
But 2015 is really just around the corner. Is this feasible, or do you think the bar's been set too high?
I don't think the bar has been set too high. The problem is, by 2015, there'll be a number of countries that will not meet the basic goal of children in primary school. There has been some significant improvement in primary school. Problem is, girls don't continue on to secondary school, and even in primary school there's still a gap. Well, first of all, we know that even a girl who goes to basic education, just primary education, there's a multiplier effect. She grows more healthier, children are healthier, she's less likely to be a victim of violence. But the real critical key now is to make sure we continue to keep girls in school and into secondary school, and that's where we're really falling. I don't think we'll meet the goals, but I do think that there is now at least some beginning of awareness of how critical secondary is.
Any countries that have surprised you and that are doing well?
Well, I don't know it's taken by surprise, but a country like Bangladesh, I mean, it's a very poor country, it's a country with a large population, and yet they have almost equity in terms of girls in school, both in primary and secondary school. So if you want to make an argument, you can't do it if you're poor, Bangladesh puts that argument away. If you want to make an argument that it's a big population, Bangladesh puts that away. So I'd use that as one example. I'd use others as well, but certainly that's a country that stands out as a country that clearly has made a commitment to girls going to school, and they're going to school.
As we've heard, poverty is one reason why young girls leave school early, often having to work to help their families. In Bangladesh, aid groups are trying to give support to girls in this situation. We look at one project now in this report.
It's 8 o'clock and Shanta Akhtar, a 12-year-old girl, is ready to go to school. Her sister Shireen gets ready to go to work. In this poverty-stricken area of Dhaka city, many children have to drop out of school to support their families. Shanta is one of the lucky ones. She's part of a web of children's learning centres run by local NGO the Dhaka Asinia Mission. With a flexible learning structure, it's designed specifically for children who work.
At this school, books are free, and I don't have to pay any fees. And I complete all my studies at school, so I don't need to do homework. Other schools give a lot of homework, which I just wouldn't be able to do. Now, after school, I have time to work and help my mother.
The curriculum groups children in order of ability, which speeds up lessons, freeing up time for paid employment.
Our students are basically the working children. Most of them are working, either it's boys or girls working in the house for the domestic work, or in the kind of domestic help, or even some cottage industries. This creates a space for the girls so that they can spare their time for the family works as well as working in other places, and also attend in the school in their own choice.
Leadership training and peer-to-peer learning is another important facet of the course, and activities like poetry, singing and drama make school fun for the whole group.
We try to entertain students of all ages and backgrounds, so they enjoy their lessons. This way they find out education can also be fun.
Shanta's mother earns 50 cents a day. Her father, a carpenter, brings in €70 a month. Although it's not quite enough to make ends meet, they believe in education for their children.
I send them to school because education is important. You need knowledge, and without education, knowledge won't grow.
Shanta also works part-time at her sister's embroidery shop. For her, education provides the possibility for greater opportunities and a better life.
When I grow up, I want to do something that will make everyone proud. I really hope I become a teacher once I finish my studies.
That's it for this edition. But before we go, here's the result of our poll on teaching peace. The majority of our social media visitors support the idea of teaching peace as a school subject. Please give us your thoughts on gender equality in education. Drop us a line on our social media pages. The Learning World website has more information. Until next week, goodbye.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.